day and welcome back to Ecocentric and another installment of Shed Wars. This year in Shed Wars we've been talking about saving your own seed, growing your plants out to seed, and about volunteer plants. Of course, when you do save your seed, you will get volunteer plants. And we started here. We had lettuce, dillweed, a couple of others. Right now we only have lettuce and dillweed growing up here that come up as volunteers. Notice the two straight lines. They're coming along now, but they were way set back, so they are smaller than the ones that I left and never moved. This year I'll take, hopefully I'm pointing at the right ones, but the two biggest ones there, I will leave them to go to seed, and I will harvest all the rest of this. The dill is coming along, but they still are hard to see. If I add a nice sifted compost layer, you'll be able to see the dill quite fine. But no, they won't only come up in the bed where you actually grew the seed, because you're going to end up with seed in your compost. And then when you sift out your compost in the spring and you put it over your other beds, you can have food plants popping up pretty much anywhere. So when you're doing your weeding, you've got to be very careful. So look along here. You see this? This is a brassica. There's one coming up right in the middle of the path, eh? Several all along here. But in the bed where conditions are better, they're growing even nicer. You see this. This is a purple one. Now, what this is, the green ones especially, this stick here, okay, so that was a Brussels sprout. I harvested Brussels sprouts off that. I let it go through a winter, and then the next year it flowered. And some of the seeds dropped, and this is what this is. So this is Brussels sprouts plants. Now, I was thinking to myself, purple, the only thing that I got is purple, I thought. Kohlrabi, purple Vienna kohlrabi, and the Red Express cabbage. So, look at those leaves. Here's the Red Express cabbage, and you notice that the leaves aren't the same. This is the purple Vienna kohlrabi, and the leaves are not the same. I have a couple over there that seem to be dying. I'm going to have to check them out. But all these other purple ones here, that's the purple Vienna. Says I. Then I'm inspecting my garden, and I was like, the Falstaff Brussels sprouts. These are heirloom Brussels sprouts, and they're purple. This was Jade Cross. That's an hybrid Brussels sprout. So one of the parents of Jade Cross is purple. And this is reverting back to looking more like the parent of Jade Cross. So that's what that is. And that's what you'll get if you save seed from an hybrid. You may get something close to what the original was, or you may get something completely different, or even back to what the parent plant was. So now, speaking of being very careful when you are pulling up weeds, okay, so we got our plantain. This is the red-rooted amaranth, which I have grown in several places, and I let it grow some places because I want to check it out and see if I can develop this into a grain crop. But look here. That's a tomato. Now, in my climate, it's doubtful that that will come to anything to give me a tomato harvest. But I'm going to let some of them grow. There's several throughout the garden. I'm going to let some of them grow. I think this is the biggest one I have. Now, where we are here is up by the compost bins, and there's several here. I grew Arctic Plenty or something, some northern tomato anyway, here last year. So it may be directly from the ones I grew here, or like I said, it might have been in the compost. During the year, we're going to be paying attention to those volunteers, and we'll see how they grow. You see, I've left some bigger amaranths here. You already know about the mustard plants are growing. They're growing all over. My ideal with those and the amaranth is when I get the grass moved around from the trees, I'm hoping to get things like this reseeding, and I'll have annuals growing out through the edge of the forest that you can harvest for seed or leaves or whatever. I have the occasional volunteer carrot. Now, I don't know why. I think, okay, so there's one there, and there's one here. There's another one in another bed I know, and I don't really know how they got there. But once again, make sure, because if you're picking little weeds like this, well, you've got to really know what the plants look like at that size to be sure that you want to pull them up. And here's another tomato. You know, I'm trying to get chamomile to become a weed, and this is borage. You grow 1 or 2 plants one year, and in the right climate anyway, you got it forever. And the seeds spread all over your garden, and you'll be taking these out as weeds and strategically leave one here and one there. Excellent pollinator attractor for the bigger pollinators, so hoverflies, wasps, bees, butterflies, those kind of thing. Borage. And so now back to the ones that we specifically planted or left. First time I grew carrot seed, I left the carrot in the ground over winter, and we had lots of snow that winter, and it come up the next year and grew up and gave me seed. But then I tried the following 2 years, and the carrot just rotted. So you can try just leaving them in the ground, but what I'm doing now, I take them up and I store them in sand. I was supposed to store them in sand last year, and as you know, I didn't do it. I left them in the paper bag and they dried up. But you store them in sand over the winter, then take them out and plant them in the fall, in the spring. The beets you can store just like potatoes. So this one's coming up. This one, he was a little bit behind, but he's finally going to make it. This is a parsnip plant that I just let go, but we have a better one. See, this is the best parsnip seed plant. It's got a humble type flower, and see, they start out like this. They widen up. This is not fully open yet. But the next Shed Wars, you'll get to see this fully open. And parsnip puts on quite a big flowering plant. Speaking of big flowering plant, I forgot to mention the beets. They grow up into quite a large plant, and then they just flop over, so they're quite out in the way. And this is why I've got these 2 tomato cages here. I like to keep them up more upright, then they're not in my way when I'm trying to walk by on the path or trying to weed. So far as I know, that's all I got to tell you about the seeds for this go around. Hope you found it informative and interesting. And don't forget, hit subscribe to follow along. And I hope to see you in the next video.